Welcome into the rundown on Fox Sports Radio 1400 around the world on the iHeartRadio app. My name is Rob Sanders. Thanks for joining us today. Busy show as always here on the program. The Carolina Panthers have found themselves a quarterback as they get into a DeLorean. Old Back to the Future reference. Lawton Swan is at Swan Castle. I'm sure he is smiling about that one. Anyway, here's the big thing with that. We'll get into that. The Carolina Panthers, it's funny. They're paying Cam Newton's replacement like more than they're paying Cam. I read something that is actually funny about that, and I've got it in my notes. It's actually kind of silly, but we'll get into that momentarily. Also, I've got some bowl projections. We'll get into that. An interesting matchup, according to CBSSports.com, for the Clemson Tigers. We'll get into that. But I got to start with Steve Sarkisian having to comment today on a viral video that came out from Bo Davis, who was an assistant coach for him there. And it was interesting in that what he said on the viral video was actually recorded kind of in secret, sort of like the Ed Orgeron video from a while back, where Ed Orgeron, after the Alabama game, he's talking about how we're going to out-blanking recruit people and out-blanking this and out-blanking that. Yeah, it's a mess when it comes down to that. But Bo Davis apparently said some things that I can't say on the radio and I can't play on the radio, but let's just put it into a simple perspective here. He basically called them something that's not nice and said basically he's tired of losing and they all should go to the transfer portal. I think I could say that without getting in trouble. If you want to hear the full rant, by the way, it's on the blog page at foxsportsradio1400.com. Go and check it out there. But here's the other part. Texas has had some issues off the field, basically. Remember last week? Yeah. Last week they had the whole thing with the pole assassin. The pole assassin stripper with the monkey. That's an actual story. That's on the blog page too. But before I get into that, I have to mention this because I have it at the top of my notes and completely forgot about it. Today is Veterans Day. So happy Veterans Day to you folks that have served and the folks that are serving now. Of course, at least on this program, veterans are important. And veterans are important to everyone. I shouldn't say at least on this program. But my favorite veteran is my father-in-law who served and did, I think, 2 tours in Vietnam, retired from the Army. Absolutely top-notch guy. So was actually very, very smart. They have the whole thing with the dowry when you marry somebody. He promised me when I married his daughter that I would have a golf swing because all Walters had a golf swing. My golf swing after we got married was still horrible. And he said, well, you should have changed your name to Walters. To which I had nothing. So there's that. Anyway, we'll get into the stuff with Cam Newton in a moment. Folks are asking about that in the chat room. But finishing up with Sarkisian, here's the big thing on that. He had to come out and say and respond to this. And he said, you can hear the passion in Bo's voice. We really believe in the staff we hired and what we came here to do. He said, it's unfortunate that a player shared it and that issue will be handled internally. Quote, what we're doing here is not for everybody. The ones who are in the locker room are going to be committed to the culture that we're on. Yeah, here's the big thing with that. When you think Texas, do you think tough? Just think about it. On a football front, when you think Texas, do you think tough? Because I don't. I don't think that Texas is a very tough football team at all. So with that, though, there are some people that are upset for the way that Coach Davis basically yelled at these kids. I say kids, but they're young men. You think stuff like that doesn't happen across the country? It's a mess when it comes down to things like that. I mean, I wasn't a college level athlete, but I played organized sports growing up. Your coaches yelled at you. It's just the way that it is. I played church league like 10 years ago, and my church league coach would yell at us. So it's not anything that's completely out there. And I don't understand what people want. Are we going to have this softness? Is that what we've come to as a society now, that you can't use colorful words to get your point across? Now, I know people get upset because I've had to cut people off on the air. I know that. Can't say certain words on the air. I know. But the reality is that when you're playing an organized sport, things like that happen. I just don't get it. We had the issue with the Washington State coach who popped his kid in the back of the helmet, just popped him in his head. What's up with that? And then he gets suspended for that. If the guy goes and scores a touchdown, you think people aren't going to come and hit him on his helmet as kind of a congratulatory thing? Maybe we should get rid of that too. What a mess, man. When you see things like that, you just look around and you're like, oh, really? Now, here's the main problem with all of this is the kid or the player that recorded it. It's like he sat his phone on his lap and is recording the coach yelling at them. Why would you do that? That just kind of shows that you want your own boat there. You know what I mean? You don't want to be on the boat with one captain. You want to have your own boat and, do your own thing. So Texas, we joke about Texas is going to be back, and Texas has a great recruiting class, and they're going to be one of the teams that, Sarkisian's got all the tools that he needs to get Texas on the right track. Look, you can have all the talent in the world, but if everybody's not playing together and everybody's not tough, it's not worth a damn. That's just as simple as we can possibly put it. 803-978-1832. Do you agree with how I feel about this, or do you think that coaches should be different in the way that they talk to players? Maybe I'm just old. Could be that. Bible Belt Beauties Online says no cell phone should be allowed in locker rooms and training facilities. Yeah. I think this was on a bus. So, yeah, there's that too. But it's just an issue of, I don't think we have tough people. That's why when we do have someone that's actually really tough, they stand leaps and bounds above everybody else. When you have somebody that's all right, looks like they would. I used to joke that Charles Barkley would slap his mama for a rebound. Same way with Dennis Rodman. Those guys were tough. Now it's like we have a society of just a bunch of just softness. I guess that's the best term I can use. 803-978-1832, 803-978-1832. I'm going to get to bowl projections in a moment. We'll take calls on that this afternoon as well. But Cam Newton has signed a deal with the Carolina Panthers. When he left in the 2019 season, he'd been dealing with shoulder and foot injuries. Matt Rule comes in and basically gets them, wants to go a different direction than the old way the Panthers were. And with that, Cam Newton moved on, played for the Patriots, etc. Now he is re-signed with the team. So we'll get into that in a moment. Let's go out to the phones, 803-978-1832, 803-978-1832. Welcome into the rundown. Good afternoon.
Hey, Rob, talking about maybe Clemson's bowl destination.
Right.
Me and some of my friends were talking, and we would like the Holiday Bowl.
I'm sorry, what was that?
The Holiday Bowl.
The Holiday Bowl. Okay, well,
I don't want to go back to Jacksonville.
Well, the projections that I have in front of me say that Clemson will be going somewhere that is not Jacksonville or not the Holiday Bowl. But hang around for that. But look, the bowl situation, we have too many bowls. I think that's a big part of it. So
yeah, but we want to go somewhere nice. Well, I don't want to go to Charlotte.
Win more games.
Win more games.
I'm just being honest.
We
Team
can
has to
still
win
make
more
it to
games.
Miami for the Cheez-Its game.
Oh, jeez.
I'll go down there and get some Cheez-Its. Lounge around on South Beach.
I like some Cheez-Its.
Thanks.
Appreciate it. All right, one more call here. Welcome into the rundown. Good afternoon.
Hey, Rob, it's Billy.
Billy, what's
Good
up,
day.
buddy? How you doing, man?
Happy Veterans Day to all.
Happy Veterans Day to you, sir. I think you posted you did 20 years in the Air Force. That is absolutely awesome. And I love the Air Force folks. I was talking to one of my friends is in the Air Force the other night. He is he's Captain Wig now. And we joked about, he goes, yeah, man, we built an Air Force base. We built the golf course first, which I think is absolutely funny. But
Absolutely.
I love the Air
Yeah, my
Force,
daughter's
man.
a captain in the Air Force. She just left for the desert third time. She's a nurse.
Mhm.
I've got a younger son that's a tech, and I've got another one that's a master. So we're an Air Force family. But anyway, let's talk about these kids being sensitive today.
Yeah.
Let's talk about something. You have 18-year-olds in high school now sitting with ESPN cameras, deciding where they're going to go to. Who gives a, what? I almost cursed. I'm not supposed to curse.
No cursing today.
And you start with that, and now they're getting endorsements, $1 million. How do you coach kids with $1 million in their pocket? Do you think AR-15 at Florida really cares about anything? He's
No.
got his. He's got his.
Yeah.
So when you cater to these kids nowadays, student athlete that is out the door, come on. It's a new day. It's not.
So are you blaming a good piece of this on the NIL bill? Because I mean, we've had these issues before this came to where we are now. I mean, I think a lot of it's got to do with I think social media has a big part to do with it, and everybody wants to appear like they're the absolute greatest ever, and everyone wants, everybody's worried about everybody else's feelings. And I'm not saying kids, coaches should go and beat the snot out of kids, but but you can use colorful words to get people's attention and get them to perform at a high level. And that shouldn't be something that is going to hinder you at all.
Yeah, well, I played in high school in the early 70s. Those coaches today would get fired. They wouldn't even be hired. It's a new day. Everybody's sensitive. We're too sensitive. And no, you shouldn't touch kids. That's obvious, or use explicit, vulgar language. But that's just like in basic training. If you keep messing up, they're going to get your attention.
Yeah.
They're going to get your attention. But the sensitivity factor nowadays, and that's what I was talking about, it comes with an 18-year-old being in high school and cameras on him deciding where he's going to go to school.
Well, respectfully, fans have made it that way. And what I mean by that is that, people want to know about the whole recruiting thing about, hey, did they offer this and did they offer that? The folks that can get traffic or whatever out of it, they're just giving what society wants. So, I've never been somebody that follows recruiting to that extent. I mean, I'll keep track of the number ones and all that, but man, it's insane when you really think about the.
I'm like another college YouTuber out here. I don't worry about it till they sign this stuff. But I lost my train of thought. It's this thing with you can transfer now because you don't get to play. Wham.
Well,
cry. I'm not getting to start, so I'm going to transfer. That's wrong. But like I say, it's not student athlete anymore. These kids are not students nowadays. A few of them are,
right, but
they're not students, and I can prove it. Remember back in the day when they introduced the defense and the offense, they said, this is Jimmy Jack from, Tupelo, Tennessee. He's majoring in finance with a 3.4. They don't do that nowadays. And you know why they don't do it nowadays.
I think some of them put out there, but some of the a lot of the times major is undecided, and it's like he's a senior. How can you be undecided as a senior? I don't get all into that, man.
Yep, and nowadays he does online recruiting. I mean online lessons and stuff. He's online. Yeah, Spurrier pointed out about I think a Texas A&M quarterback a few years. How are you a senior and you do all your courses online? I'm sure you can, but let's be serious. It's not what it used to be. and we're part. This is the you owe me generation. And it's like I say, how do you coach a kid that's getting money from Madden for his likeness? How do you do that? Should now I'm not, I can debate that too. Should they be getting the money? I'm going to tell you no. They can get it at the end of the 4 years.
Maybe
they're making money off the likeness.
The way to put it out there is that once you are finished with college, your money that you get goes into a trust, and then once you finish at college, you get that trust, and you don't get it until you're done. I think that would be something
exactly.
Yeah.
And I'll get off here with this last point. I've always thought, the kids should get a stipend. I'm along with Spurrier. I played baseball at a small college, and we had kids that couldn't go get a hamburger. What does a kid from a poverty home use for on Saturday go hamburger and go to a movie? I get that. They should get a stipend. But I also believe that if you play at a university for 4 years or 5 years and you graduate, and this university went to a couple of bowl games and made money and everything, you should get a dividend at the end of that 4 years. They should give you something, and compensate you to a degree. Not millions, but something. The kids that go pro, they're taken care of. But it's the kid that bled, sweat for 4 years on the practice field, didn't get to play that much, and he gave his all, played for 4 or 5 years, graduates with a degree. The university owes him some money. I can see that.
Yeah, I just think in the way that they get it, I think what you're saying is valid. And hey, you're like the quarterback from Alabama's getting 6 figures, and he's a sophomore. He's 19 years old, and he's making 6 figures. And now, granted, he's a very worthwhile endorser. I get that, but 6 figures at 19 years old, that's like literally winning the lottery at 19.
How do you coach kids like that? And since you mentioned that kid, you can't. Saban tried in the pros. These guys make millions of dollars. And what did they tell him? Go kick sand.
Exactly.
Go kick sand.
Yep.
So I'm just saying we've gotten away from student athlete. And one more point for basketball. I don't know if you know this or not. Yeah. This is an NCAA rule. You can enroll as a freshman basketball player, take 2 classes in the fall full time, come back 1 January and declare you're going for pros. You can still play on the team and not go to class. That's BS. Stop it.
Yeah, student athlete is a term that is almost an oxymoron. It's just not.
And now the NCAA a couple of weeks ago said they're going to drop the requirements, ACT, SAT scores, minimum requirements to go to school.
Well, and I'll tell you what, and here's the thing with that. My wife is an educator, and she actually works with young folks that have disabilities, whether it's autism, all kinds of stuff that she works with. And when I told her that, and she's like, how do I go and tell these kids that are on the football team, hey, it's important for you to do your work and make sure that you can score high enough, where now they don't even take score anymore as far as those placement tests go. And it's like,
exactly.
How do I tell these kids that are in middle school, do what you're supposed to do, get your high school diploma, make sure you score high enough? And she said even the level that they were looking at wasn't exactly where you had to be a top student anyway. But you're telling me that, hey, we can't keep that there so they can at least get the bare minimum, so when they graduate, they have the capability of being able to function in society, reading, writing, etc. She's like, all these kids think they're going to the NFL, and none of them are. And now I have nothing to tell them, hey, you got to make sure you make good grades in high school. It's a mess.
They don't care.
Yeah, you might be right.
So let me get off here. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Happy Veterans Day, sir. Appreciate you, man.
You too. Right. Thank you.
There you go. All right. Lots of heavy stuff here today on the rundown. I don't have a problem with that, though, because it's real with the stuff that's out there. And what Billy said there at the end with the NCAA, I didn't even bring that up on the show because I feel so passionate about it, because, as I said, with my wife and the fact that she deals with a lot of young men who think, you know what, I can make it to the NFL. I'm going to go and play, Division I college football. Now it's so much easier on the academic front. You don't have to score that set amount on that ACT or the SAT. Now, there's going to be sets of people that say, you know what, you're discriminating against certain people with the way those tests are written, and they're culturally biased and things like. I don't want to hear that. It's ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. Which is why there's some topics that don't come up on the show because I get so I'm frustrated with them, and I don't know how to put them into nice words that you can run around with as you drive around in your car, and I'll just be confusing to you, and then I'll end up saying something stupid. That's basically what it boils down to. Anyway, 803-978-1832. Quick break. When we come back, we'll finish up with the Cam Newton story. We'll also do some bowl projections. This is The Rundown. You are listening to Fox Sports Radio 1400. You guys are hilarious. Actually, it's funny because you mentioned Stetson Bennett. I keep getting stuff from Georgia fans about certain stuff. Yeah, Thanksgiving is 2 weeks from today. Thanksgiving is like Fat Boy holiday. Love some Thanksgiving, man. Oh, yeah, here we go. No, wait a minute. Someone sent me something about Bennett ended up with like one of the top. Who was it? I can't remember who it was, but it was like Bennett's like a finalist for some award. Thanksgiving is like literally it's my favorite holiday. It's great. It's the best holiday out there. Seriously, it is. Welcome back to the Rundown on Fox Sports Radio 1400 around the world on the iHeart Radio app. I am Rob Sanders. We were discussing in the chat room about, Thanksgiving is upon us. We're like 2 weeks out from Thanksgiving. I know I'm doing a show the Friday after Thanksgiving because that's the Friday before all the rivalry games. So I will be definitely doing a show that day. I also will be, I'm pretty sure I'm doing a show every day that week, but obviously Thanksgiving Day, and I may take Wednesday off. But I'm definitely doing a show Monday and Tuesday and Friday of that week. Lots of folks, they'll pack it up. They'll just pack it in. Oh, no one's going to care. It's like, the rivalry week in college football. No one cares about that, right? No one cares about some of the great matchups. They may not be great matchups out on the field, but people actually care about them. South Carolina, Clemson. What else have we got? Florida, Florida State, Georgia, Georgia Tech. They may end up looking one-sided, but the fans of both fan bases, the fans of both schools care about them. And And there's always that glimmer of hope you're going to have an upset. So the least that I can do is come in and do as many shows as I can that week to, to feed the folks out there with anything that may be out there as far as news, etc. So I'll be definitely doing a show Monday, Tuesday, probably Friday, definitely Friday. I know I'm doing a show on Friday. Got to do picks and everything else. Billy says Tennessee and Vandy. Okay. That's a big rivalry. I know, and see, this is something else too. This year, you're going to have a lot of those rivalries back because last year with COVID, you didn't have them. So, you get another set of that South Carolina Clemson game and Kentucky and Louisville and, and Georgia and Georgia Tech. And I think it's funny some of the stuff that fans throw back and forth at each other. South Carolina fans claim that Clemson's nothing but a cow college. Georgia calls Georgia Tech nerds. It's just silly. It really is. Rivalry week is really one of the best weeks in college football. Everything that you've had set up out there is you already know pretty much who's going to be your conference champion and all of that. Now it's just, we're better than you are. Blah. Here we go. So, but getting back to what we were talking about over there in the chat room, Thanksgiving is like fat boy holiday. I think I can get away with that, even though people are sensitive now. But I'm saying that as a chunky boy myself here. It's my favorite holiday. Generally, you got all the family together. You have a nice big family meal. And then at our house, we do a couple of things. Normally, I run in the Boys and Girls Club 5K downtown. I say run. I jog. Running is out of the question. I'm a power lifter. I don't run. But no, I do try to jog in the 5K that morning. And then that afternoon, I rake up leaves in the yard. My kids play in the leaves. Even though they're older now, they still play in the leaves, which is kind of funny. My Facebook page on Thanksgiving Day is a picture of me drenched in sweat from running. Then later on, the kids playing in the leaves. And then maybe a picture of our turkey. But after that, all the tables cleared up. Everybody helps clean the kitchen. And then we have a big round of cards with the entire family. Once you are old enough to be able to actually sit still and hold your hand full of cards, you play cards in our house on Thanksgiving. And I drink cheap wine with my mother-in-law, and we get sauced, which is one of the few times I get drunk throughout the year. Get kind of drunk on the wine a little bit with my mother-in-law, and we play cards. That's what we do on Thanksgiving. It's kind of a tradition at our house. And I just love it, not because of just the food aspect of it, although the wife puts together a heck of a spread, but it's the idea of the whole family getting together. And it's not this over-commercialized thing that Christmas is. You ever see people put out this stuff on like your social media feed, and it's like, we're 50 days until Christmas. Are we? Why don't we start doing that with Thanksgiving? They want to just skip over Thanksgiving. Like, to heck with that. It's a mess. Tennille says, we always watch Christmas Vacation after we eat. Good point. Billy says, Rob drinks wine out of a box, but my mother-in-law gets the wine, sir. I will not have you talking about my mother-in-law. Whatever she brings us, we will drink. Just saying. But yeah, Thanksgiving traditions are important there at the Sanders house. Bible Belt Beauty says he'd love to see Rob drunk. Yeah, I would just, all I do is just say stupid things at a much higher level. And I'll laugh a lot. It's pretty much what it boils down to. Tom says, slow down, Rob. Heart attacks are real. Good point, sir. Good point. Anyway, but then you have the rivalry games that weekend. And there's so many, there's good rivalry games. Even sometimes, I hate the term, you throw the records out the window. Stop it. Most times the team that is favored wins. Sometimes the game's a little bit closer than it should be. But it's still one of the best weekends in college football, in my opinion. 803-978-1832, 803-978-1832 is the number to call. Dr. Vol online says he's a Vol fan. He's expecting to get a butt cutting on Saturday. I'll be happy if we score 20 points, though. Is that kind of where we are? Are people like, yeah, we scored on that Georgia defense. That's as great as a win. Daniel says Christmas Eve and Christmas Day are great, but he hates all the hype around Christmas. Too commercialized. Yes, sir. You are absolutely right. Brandon says the Egg Bowl is always on Thanksgiving night. Yeah, the Egg Bowl is great. We can get into that too. All right, more of the rundown bowl projections when we come back. This is Fox Sports Radio 1400. Yeah, the Army-Navy game is big time important too. Sit there and watch that at my house. Generally, I send my two daughters and my wife to the Nutcracker. They like to go watch the Nutcracker, and then my son will go play video games. He doesn't really watch football with me. It's kind of hard with his autism. It's kind of hard to get him to settle down. He'll go play some games or whatever, and I chill out on the couch. Sometimes I wrap Christmas gifts, but I'm generally watching the bowl game there. I do watch the Egg Bowl on Thanksgiving night if it's on in the background or whatever. Generally, we're playing cards, though, to be honest. It's kind of the way it works. You know, the Army-Navy game is great because they are literally just regular guys. I mean, they're absolutely in great shape, but they're just normal folks. It's not the biggest and best athletes on the planet playing. So, yeah, I love the Army-Navy game. Look, see, we've got some things in common over there. Some people, somebody told me the other day, what was it that sometimes I come across as harsh on the show. I'm like, I don't think I'm harsh. Try not to be. Yeah, hey Tom, that's a big deal at our house too. Putting up the Christmas lights. Our stuff is in our attic in the garage, so I've got to move around some stuff to get everything where I want it and all that. And then my wife is a savage. She's got all these Christmas trees. There you go, Tennille. Playing a little slapjack. Welcome back to the Rundown on Fox Sports Radio 1400. I forgot to mention this today. You know, sometimes when you're on the radio, you want to have someone who's smarter than you are. Wouldn't you guys like to hear from someone who actually calls plays, who actually knows what the X's and O's and all of that? Former Gamecock assistant Eric Wilson will join me on the program tomorrow, and we'll look at some of the big matchups. And he'll tell me what he thinks of each one and why they should go one way or the other simply because of the X's and O's. Of course, he is the offensive coordinator for Hammond here in the Midlands, and he is an encyclopedia of football. He absolutely knows his stuff. So tomorrow, be sure to check out the show because we're actually going to have someone that actually knows football on the show. I was like, I talk about football every day, but I will get somebody who knows something about it. There we go. We can try that. Looking forward to talking to Coach Eric Wilson tomorrow. All right, so bowl matchups. These are from Jerry Palm at CSP at CBS Sports. Use your words, Rob. Some of the bowl games that they have out there: the Camellia Bowl, App State, and Liberty. All right, let's go to the phones really quick. 803-978-1832. Welcome into the Rundown.
Hey, Roby. This is the Biscuit.
What did you call me? Roby?
Roby.
What? Explain to me what that is, sir.
That's just an English accent, Rob. That's
it. Okay.
I did. It was one of my it reminds me of one of my daughter's soccer coaches, Roby. So
that's funny because one of my best friends is English, and she called me a slag one time. Go and look that up. That's basically this is like 20 years ago, but she called me a slag, which a slag, and I had to go and look it up myself. Is basically
doesn't sound good.
Yeah, it's essentially a man whore. That's what a slag is. I was like, thank you for that. I guess I don't know, but yeah, she still calls me that, which is
You're
funny.
a man whore. How much are you bringing in? A lot of money?
No, but apparently she thought that I was at one point because she's like the sister I never wanted, but I think she just called me that out of silliness. So now when
I hope she's not listening right now.
oh, she may listen every now and then. Emma's her name, and her dad is, or her stepdad's like big into soccer here around Columbia, but she just started calling me a slag all the time. Hey slag, hey slag. I'm like, what does that mean? Then I looked it up and I'm like, oh goodness. All right, what do you got for the show?
Well, then you know what? You should just call her the English definition of it. Just call her a lady whore.
No, we can't do that. All right, what do you got for the program?
So anyway, well, I promised to be nice today. In honor of Billy, I'm not saying anything negative about Tennessee. As a matter of fact, I'll say something nice. I've been up there 4 or 5 times in my life for the Georgia games, and I have, outside of one small time where a kid got mouthed, I mean, I've never had a problem up there. And I've been up there several times when we did not play well.
Yep.
I was there in 2007 when we were down 28-0 at halftime as a favorite, and fans there have always been cool as far as I'm concerned.
Well, most fan bases are. I mean, you're going to have idiots in every fan base.
But
I think, but most
go
fans
to LSU.
Are.
You go to LSU. See if your fans are cool.
Respectfully, I've been to Georgia. I've been to LSU, and I mean, there's been some silly people that I know are not the truest representation of the fan base. Okay, but generally, I think most people want to be accepting, and it's the adage of, look, welcome in. We're going to beat the snot out of you, but you're welcome to have a beer with us. That's generally the vibe I get to whenever I go on the road. So
most places I've been to have been that way too. Not that place.
Okay.
We pulled onto campus and there were people spitting on our car. So I mean, like that's where it started. But the other thing I wanted to talk with you, I was on. Sorry about yesterday. I was in a car, so I only gave you 3/4 of my attention, and I was having a hard time hearing through my phone for some reason yesterday. I must have had a signal. But you were talking about the comparison between the SEC, and it's become a common in the Big Ten. It's become a common talking point that the Big Ten is better this year. I went through and I actually matched up number 1 through number 14 against both. I would challenge you to do that and see what results you come up with. Well, because I came up with a great majority SEC wins.
Well, respectfully, and we've talked about this before, and I think a lot of Big Ten fans will tell you this too. They, what's the term? Southern speed is something that only one Big Ten team has, and that's Ohio State. The rest of them don't have that. They all look like they're just slower. They don't have the.
Well, then why are we talking about how they're better then?
Because they do better in some areas that I think that you can make an argument that they have better offensive linemen up there, and other things too. But I mean, speed in all actuality kills. But we'll see. I mean, Ohio State is really good, though. I mean, we have to admit that.
Well, of course, but we're talking about an entire conference. If you matched up Georgia against Ohio State, who do you have winning?
I think that would be close, depending. Now, Georgia, of course, and I hate using this, but Georgia's had a couple of subtractions this week that I don't know how it's going to affect them, but I would probably think that I'd like to see that Ohio State offense against that Georgia defense. I think it'd be close. I really do. I'd probably take Georgia to win, but it'd be close.
Right. What about Bama and Michigan?
You can't expect me to be logical about Michigan because I hate Jim Harbaugh. I'd tell you Vanderbilt will beat him just because I don't like him. So it's not really fair.
I'm just saying, you walk down A&M against Michigan State. A&M wins, right? Ole Miss against Iowa.
Ole Miss and Iowa might be interesting. I don't know for sure, though, to be honest. I think I'd be kind of close to a toss-up game.
Challenge yourself and walk down that list and go 1 through 14. I think you'll be surprised at the results.
Sure. Yeah, I can do that. What else you got?
And then do it against the ACC for a laugh if you want.
Yeah, the ACC has got some holes in it this year. So, I think there's maybe 3 teams in the ACC that you could put out there that are somewhat viable, and the rest are kind of just flat, in my opinion.
Oh, agreed.
All right.
Okay, well, I mean, that's all I had. I'll let you go and talk to somebody else.
Yeah,
Happy
man.
Veterans Day.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. All right.
Yeah.
Bye-bye. All right, Biscuit joining the program. All right, some bowl matchups here as we roll along today. Ryan says I contradicted myself. You said the Big Ten was better, and then just said that after the Big Ten is slow. That if I did say that, then I think if I did say that, then I didn't mean that. So thanks for calling me out on that. What I mean is that I think the top half of the SEC is really good. As far as the Big Ten goes, there are some good teams there. But the idea, and Tom says 1 to 12, 2 to 3, SEC is the best conference. Yeah. I don't understand why we have to have this whole conference superiority thing. I like the idea of Georgia is really good, and Georgia could play anywhere, and they would be great. Ohio State is really good. They could play anywhere, and they would be great. Oregon is really good. They could play anywhere. They would be great. Why do we have to have this whole concept of, Mizzou might be really good over if they played in the ACC, or it's just silly. And it's just, you can't win with it. And I think a lot of teams that finish 7-5 want you to think they're 7-5 because they had to go through what they think is a tough schedule. And in all actuality, it may not be. So anyway, back to the bowl projections. The Camellia Bowl has App State and Liberty. I don't know if I want to see that or not. Let's look at some bowl matchups that I might actually find amusing. The Armed Forces Bowl has Air Force and SMU. Okay, I can see that. Like games with the military academies. No problem with that. Let's see here. The Potato Bowl has Toledo and Boise State. That's funny. We could definitely get into that. Holiday Bowl, Wake Forest and UCLA. The write-up from Jerry Pop says, if you like defense, then Wake Forest, North Carolina was not for you. It was unfortunate one had to lose that game. Wake Forest's bid for a perfect season ended at 58-55. Sam Hartman threw for 398 yards and 5 touchdowns and lost. How did that happen? What a mess. Anyway, Bruins versus the Demon Deeks. Okay, we can get into that. Other bowls, Marshall and Georgia State in the Lending Tree Bowl, UTEP and Louisiana in the New Orleans Bowl. Okay, I can see that too. Myrtle Beach Bowl. Like we need a bowl in Myrtle Beach. And the sad part is that it's not actually in Myrtle Beach. It's actually in Conway, which, is close to Myrtle Beach. But anyway, Coastal Carolina and Army projected for that bowl. Quick break. When we come back, we'll look at some more ACC, SEC matchups. Tell you some of the more interesting projections as we roll along. This is The Rundown. You're listening to Fox Sports Radio 1400. That's fair, Tennessee. Fire Cards. Oh, yeah, UNC Pitt tonight, by the way. Jimmy asked about that. I if I were betting tonight, I would take Pitt on, North Carolina on the money line. Blake, I haven't gotten down to that far yet. So I'm sure Mississippi State is here, and I'll tell you who they play right when we come back. Yeah, Pitt lost to a directional school. Hey, you guys help me with this. I think if you have East or West in front of your name, unless it's West Virginia, if you have East in your school name, you're not really good at football. Directional schools are, they put a direction in front of your school name. Yeah, you be safe out there in Hopkins there, Brandon. I don't know. Narduzzi's kind of a weird dude. Collins is weird too. Yeah, East or West. East or West. I didn't go with North and South, but East and West. I mean, you got West Virginia. They were okay for a bit, but pretty much you have East or West in front of your school. Yeah, Colby, I mentioned that earlier. I like North Carolina on the money line tonight. If I were going to bet, I would go with North Carolina. I really would. Yeah, I mean, I know where Hopkins is. It's not far from here. 15 minutes from the station. Final segment of the rundown here on Fox Sports Radio 1400 around the world on the iHeartRadio app. Thanks for joining us today on the show. Bowl projections. These are from CBS Sports. The Gasparilla Bowl, which is where I thought South Carolina would be heading, because I think South Carolina is going to roll Mizzou this weekend. I really believe that. I think that the running game and Mizzou is terrible against the run. It's just one of those things where it's almost like a buzzsaw matchup. I have to, when you step back and look at it, South Carolina should win that game. Hold on, let's go out to the phones. And welcome into the rundown. Good afternoon.
Big Barney Ross here.
Hey,
Thank
man,
you for your service.
Oh, thank you. I thought you were on a milk carton. What can I do for you?
Well, it's a great time of year. The leaves are turning. People are getting bowl projections ready. And Nebraska is spring cleaning in the fall. You got to love it.
Yeah.
A lot of people called in. They've been wanting to know about the Clemson-South Carolina game. You know, you had a lot of callers last night wanting to hear, who's going to win that. But I've got a bowl projection.
Sure.
I think you're going to love it. Kentucky will meet Clemson in the Gator Bowl. And if Kentucky loses, I will cut my hair like Mark Stoops. I'll get off here and listen to what you get to say.
Thank you for that. Big Barney Ross, always welcome on the program. Oh, man. Awesome. All right. He kind of threw me off there for a second, but let's get back to these projections before we get out of here. Kansas State, Mississippi State in the Liberty Bowl. There you go. Someone was asking about where Mississippi State was on the in the chat room there. In the Military Bowl, Virginia and UCF. I can buy that. Houston and Nevada in the First Responder Bowl. Man, there are too many bowls. That's pretty much the Birmingham Bowl, Eastern Michigan and Mizzou. Okay. The Duke's Mayonnaise Bowl, Clemson and Florida, battling for the condiments up in Charlotte. Before the season, a Clemson matchup with Florida was probably slated to happen in a New Year's Six Bowl, but both programs have severely underwhelmed this year. It certainly takes a little bit to get used to when Clemson and Florida are complete non-factors in the ACC and the SEC, but they'll be back, hopefully. I didn't write that. Jerry Palm did. What a mess. The Condiment Bowl. I want a Duke's Mayonnaise t-shirt. I'm sure they sell them. That's what I'm going to tell the wife I want for Christmas, a Duke's Mayonnaise t-shirt. What a mess. Hold on, let's go back out to the phones, 803-978-1832. Welcome into the program. Good afternoon.
Rob, I'm tuning in late, just getting off work. Hey, yeah. Can you just for my sake, just repeat the Duke's Mayonnaise Bowl matchup, just please, one more time? I
think I already have, but it's Clemson and Florida, sir. Hey, why don't I get you, I tell you what, why don't I buy you some tickets, because you're right down there next to that Florida program. You'd love to go see Florida play, right?
I could just go to the county dump.
Well, I tell you what,
that's,
you know what, I'm going to put this out there.
You know what that bowl game is? You know what that bowl game is?
It used to be the Belk Bowl. It used to be the Belk Bowl.
That is an overflowing truck stop commode, Rob. That's two dying programs.
Well, listen, I tell you what, I'm going to put this out there. If both of you agree, I will buy tickets to the Condiment Bowl. I will host you and Hollywood together if Clemson and Florida match up there, and all three of us will go up there We'll get us some Duke's Mayonnaise T-shirts, and we'll watch that game. How's that sound?
You got a deal. Hey, my word is my bond, sir.
Hollywood ain't going to go with us. He'll be like, I ain't going with them people. I can see that now. But if that happens, we'll have to talk about that.
Okay, man. Hey, I enjoyed it. Hey, thanks to the vets out there. Seriously, what we do is act like idiots on the radio, but guys, I sure appreciate it.
Love the veterans.
43 and 18, Rob.
Thank you, sir. Have a great day. All right. Beg and Megan happy with the Duke's Mayonnaise Bowl. Get him a Duke's Mayonnaise T-shirt. We'll see how high and mighty he is then. Gator Bowl, Miami and Auburn. Wow. Alamo Bowl, Baylor and Utah. Virginia Tech projected to go to the Pinstripe Bowl against Minnesota. Yeah, that's what you want to play in freaking Yankee Stadium. I don't want to play there ever. It's be cold and miserable in New York City. Boston College and Oregon State in the Sun Bowl. The Fenway Bowl. Let's go to Fenway Park and play with Louisville and East Carolina. Yeah, the Outback Bowl is projected to be Wisconsin and Kentucky, Texas A&M and Iowa in the Citrus Bowl, Penn State and Arkansas in the Music City Bowl. Texas Bowl has Texas and Tennessee. Arizona Bowl, Utah State and Northern Illinois. Cheez-It Bowl, the bowl game about Cheez-Its. What greatness we have in this country. NC State and Iowa State. Michigan and Ole Miss in the Peach Bowl. That might be an interesting matchup. Pitt and Notre Dame in the Fiesta Bowl. Rose Bowl, Michigan State and Oregon. Sugar Bowl, Alabama and Oklahoma State. Your CFP playoff, the semifinals. Number 2, Oklahoma. Number 3, Ohio State. And then the other one is a rematch from last season. Number 1, Georgia, and number 4, Cincinnati. There you go, the projections. We'll keep up with those as we roll along, as this will go on the bookcase of accountability, which is to my right. It sits next to a trash can, which is where I keep all of Beggin' Megan's thoughts, because generally he just brings nonsense to the program. So I stopped putting him on the bookcase of accountability, and there's a trash can next to it. I was looking for a picture of him online, but it doesn't do, the trash can said, please don't do that to me. So anyway, 8:03. Actually, I'm about out of time. My goodness. On the website today, the blog page, by the way, lots of good information there. If you haven't heard what Coach Bo Davis said to his players that was recorded by someone who was really, really soft, go and check that out. It's on the blog page, including Steve Sarkisian's response, which was basically, we'll deal with that internally. That's not exactly the young man that recorded this isn't really going to the culture that we want. Yeah, that's all up on the website. In addition to, and I posted this earlier, and a lot of folks actually like this. I found a Braves highlight reel set up by some folks that they put out there that basically, it's about 8 minutes long, I think, but it chronicles how the Braves at the All-Star break were basically, they were one game under 500 in August and ended up winning the World Series. And yet everyone from Stephen A. Smith to, insert talking head idiot here saying, you know what? The Braves are done. Houston's better. Milwaukee's better. They're not even going to win they're not going to win anything. And then, of course, having to come back and actually eat their words when the Braves won the World Series. The 4-letter network, man, they didn't want anything to do with that. All they want is if they could put Boston in the NL, that way the Yankees could play the Red Sox in the World Series and just let them play each other. That's what they would have. What's interesting, though, is if you look at TV ratings, it's like the highest rated World Series in like 5 years. But the dum-dums at ESPN and all of that, we have to have the Yankees and the Red Sox or the World Series is going to suck. Yeah. The World Series means, baseball means a lot to that town, the Yankees and the Red Sox. The Braves mean something to an entire region of the country. Wish people could shake them so they could understand that. Anyway, that's up on the website for you. Fox Sports Radio, 1400.com. Keyword is Rob. Go up there and check that out. Podcast up at 5. Lawton Swan is next. He is the czar of Clemson Sports.
Stop looking at me, Swan.
Be sure to follow him on Twitter at Clemson Sports. I'm on Twitter at Rob Sounds Good. We'll see you tomorrow. I read that, and that was Scott Boras, the agent, was running his mouth about the way they put together a team isn't the way that it's supposed to be. He's just one of those idiots that the Yankees and the Red Sox are blah, 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 blah. They haven't been this mad since the Royals won the World Series, because the Royals did it with like the lowest payroll in baseball. So there's that. All right. Appreciate y'all, man. We'll see you tomorrow. Coach Eric Wilson talks X's and O's with us. We'll talk to you later on.